Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter your gender presentation, whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes. You are welcome here. No matter what you have experienced in the past, no matter what awaits you in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. Good morning, and welcome to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. My name is Lindsay Anderson, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a white, femme-presenting person with light brown hair and blue eyes, and it is my privilege to serve as the worship associate for this morning's service. This is my first time at this pulpit, so Rev Lora requested that I share a little bit about myself and why I came here to South Valley. My wife and I started coming here so our child, Ren, could attend the religious exploration program. I've always wanted Ren to feel empowered to believe whatever they wanted. I remember when they were younger and they said, "Our family is atheist." I corrected them and said, "Our family has 3 individual people who are all allowed to think what they want about the origin of the world." I'm proud to say that my child doesn't agree with my admittedly rigid atheism. I don't believe in anything supernatural, while Ren collects beautiful crystals they believe have power. I love hearing about these precious rocks. It reassures me they're comfortable forming their own opinions about the world. And they know my love for them is not dependent on what they think about God, magic, or the mysteries of the universe. As Ren gets older, my desire to encourage independent thought becomes more and more important to me. That's the main reason I'm here. I'm excited to become a part of the worship team and contribute to this meaningful community where we're all allowed to think independently. If you see any cool rocks on the altar, you know where they came from, particularly the rocks today.
Good morning, folks. Good to see all of you. Hymn number 1060, please, as we sing of hope and joy. This is a rather beautiful one, and as I understand, it's the first time we're singing through this. So let's listen to Rickland play this beautifully on the piano once through.
You can stand as you're willing and able, and body, mind, and spirit.
Ready, and...
Let us light our chalice, our commitment, and our symbol of our faith in love and justice to prevail. Those at home are invited to light a chalice and share in this ritual by entering chalices lit in the name of your street in the chat box. Please join me, those of you in the sanctuary as well as at home, in saying our chalice lighting words, and use our actions if you wish. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. Please be seated. Good morning again on this beautiful first day of March when it seems like spring is coming, but we know it's not quite here yet. It will surely snow again. I am the Reverend Lora Young. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm delighted to be with you this morning. I'm a tall, red-haired woman with purple glasses and purple lipstick to match because I'm 50, and I think bright lipstick is required beyond 50. And I am delighted to be welcoming you here and to celebrate again that we've had to put out extra chairs for some weeks now. We are a thriving community, and together we thrive and we grow and we celebrate and we honor all that is good in this world while working together to combat all that which must change in order to make this world a beloved community for all. As we settle into worship this morning, I invite you now just to breathe, to put your feet on the ground, and just arrive. In our tradition as Unitarian Universalists, we do not require that a place be sacred because it is consecrated by a deity. We call it consecrated, holy, and pure because we are the ones who make it so. Thank you for being a beloved part of this community, whether this is your first time or your 150th time. And so now, because it's the first Sunday of the month, those of you who have been here before know that it is birthday blessing. All right, so I'm going to get my help from Lindsay. And if you have a birthday in the month of March, you are invited to come forward. Well, on behalf of everyone gathered in this community, receive this birthday blessing. May this coming year be one of delightful surprise and opportunities for growth and renewal. When you find yourself in need of a friend or a shoulder to cry on, may this community be rich in those relationships to support you as you find your way through to the other side. And may you find opportunities to enjoy the beauty and wonder of this wide and vast universe. We are so glad that you are here, and we are so glad that you were born. Happy birthday. And grab a sticker before you go. They already got them all? Okay, perfect. And let us now sing out our children to their activities.
This community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledge monthly to support our work, and for this we are grateful. Your gifts help ensure that we are able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. Part of our ministry at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our principles and values. For March and April, we'll be sharing our offering with Communidades Unidas, founded in 1999. CU fights to build the social and political power of the people who identify as Latinx immigrants, including the undocumented folks living in Utah. We defend the human rights of our community by connecting them to the social service programs they need to prosper, and with opportunities to organize to transform themselves and their community. Please join me in reading our offertory words. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the love of this community and sustain it with our gifts. We will now accept the offering. For those at home, you are invited to use the giving link in the online order of service. I invite the ushers to come forward at this time.
For all we have found the courage to give, may we be truly grateful. May these gifts be a blessing on the ministries of South Valley and on Communidades Unidas. At this time, I invite all gathered here in the sanctuary to participate in our communal ritual of joys and sorrows. We have 2 stations set up, one here and one in the back. The one in the back looks very similar to the one up here. And each bowl is filled with water and a few rocks and surrounded with some other rocks. I invite you to come forward in silence as you wish to place a rock in one of our bowls to represent all that is held in your heart, be that deep joy for the birth of a child or the arrival of a blessed anniversary, or for whatever is troubling you, be that personally or in the wider world. And Rick will play for us while we do this ritual. And for those that are at home, I invite you to share the chat box to share what is on your heart as we partake of this ritual together. A final stone to connect that which was shared in our online space to that which was held in this space. and one stone to represent all that which remains unspoken, but still deeply held and felt. Join me now in a time of prayer, meditation, or reflection. You may close your eyes or leave them open. However it is that you find what is sacred, I invite you to just settle into that space for a moment. Spirit of life that runs in each and every one of our bodies, that flows in the rivers and streams, falls from the sky as rain and snow, blooms from the earth as daffodils, heralding the beginning of the change of the season. From the youngest among us to those who have the most senior status, may we give grateful praise for the gift that is life. Spirit of life, we come to you also with hearts that are ever breaking open, eyes that see, ears that hear, bodies that experience all that is troubling and broken in this world. Be that personal to our own lives, happening in this community or in the wider world. We offer a prayer especially this week for the people of Ukraine who are facing not an ending of their war, but a continuation of uncertainty at the hands of the leadership of our country that treats with disrespect rather than with clarity of moral compass. We pray that we will have the strength as a nation to see through to the other side, to hold on to that which is good and valuable in our shared humanity, kindness, compassion, and the work for justice, to resist the evils of despair that so often can overwhelm us. And we ask that this place, our place, be the place where we can find renewal, where we can find recommitting to justice work, a valuable and worthwhile endeavor. May all the creatures that are in and around this building, be they of 2 feet, 4 feet, or however many a centipede actually has, may all of us, blessed earthlings, gather together and celebrate that it is possible to create a world of justice and compassion for as long as we show up and work to make it so. Amen.
Today's reading comes from John O'Donohue's To Bless the Space Between Us. The poem is called For Citizenship. In these times when anger is turned into anxiety and someone has stolen the horizons and mountains, our small emperors on parade never expect our indifference to disturb their nakedness. They keep their heads down and their eyes gleam with reflection from aluminum economic ground. The media wraps everything in a cellophane of sound, and the ghost surface of the virtual overlays the breathing earth. The industry of distraction makes us forget that we live in a universe. We have become converts to the religion of stress and its deity of progress, that we may have courage to turn aside from it all and come to kneel down before the poor, to discover what we must do, how to turn anxiety back into anger, how to find our way home.
Robert Putnam, author of that now famous text, Bowling Alone, names what we already understand in our core, that the ways in which we are connected to each other makes a difference in what we can accomplish together, what we can do together in our civic life and our community life, and for and with our democracy. His inspiration was President John F. Kennedy, who famously said during his inauguration, ask not what your country can do for you, but what your country can do. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Yes, that's the way it's supposed to go. This past week, I attended a seminar in Washington, D.C., and by happy circumstance, my aunt also lives there. So one evening over dinner, we discussed the state of the world, as one does. And she remarked to me that when she graduated from college in the early 1970s, many of her friends desired to work for the government. That giving of one's time and talent and service of the community was a noble and worthy endeavor. I am not quite sure how we got from Kennedy's speech to today. There are many theories and trends, but we are clearly in a different dynamic at this time. Our current president openly despises government employees, of which he is one. And his chief advisor has been ruthlessly targeting staff members at all levels of government with suspicion and ridicule and pink slips. This is morally and ethically wrong. And I will not engage in the conversation about, yes, we need reforms from this pulpit. What is happening is wrong. Period. The seminar I attended this past week was about religious responses to the Holocaust and the prevention of genocide going forward, and it was held at the National Memorial Holocaust Museum. And despite the difficulty of spending 4 days immersed in discussions and exhibits about the terrible atrocities of the Holocaust and the failure of most Christian clergy, civic, and political leaders to do anything because of their own deeply held anti-Semitism, I emerged from the week feeling quite energized and rather hopeful, because I was surrounded by Christian and Jewish clergy who give a damn, who are committed to naming terrible truths about the complicity of religious leaders during the Holocaust, how Christian theology has been used to support anti-Jewish rhetoric and anti-Semitism, and what can be done to change it. This is always important work. And last week, given the state of our nation, it felt very, very, very real. To be held in a space of naming truth, all of them, including the war in Gaza. We did not shy away from that most incendiary of topics as colleagues. To find a way to speak differences of approach, to speak truth across differences of approach, across different histories and lived experiences, in order to find a way through collaboratively and cooperatively, gave me hope. It gave me hope about what we can accomplish together for our community and our democracy. As Robert Putnam has said, the ways in which we are connected to each other makes a difference in what we can accomplish together. Another thing that is giving me hope these days is the fullness of our sanctuary on Sundays since the election. Y'all are coming to church like there's no tomorrow. Or maybe I should say, because you've seen the tomorrow on offer, and you have decided that isn't the tomorrow that you want for yourselves, your children, your community, or our democracy. Y'all are coming because you know that connection matters, and you are willing to get out of bed and skip the glorious morning, But you could be golfing or cycling or brunching and instead come and be here. Now, choosing connection does not mean that terrible things will stop happening. It means that we will work together to get through them and do what we can and what we must to prevent them going forward. For decades, we have watched the media express almost surprise that in the face of terrible disaster and atrocity and difficulty, that there is always a flock of humans who arrive to help each other. I've long wondered, why is this such a surprise, given its predictability and its regularity? And I suspect that the reason is because we don't know what to do when we are confronted with the evidence that sometimes, and quite tragically, and at great cost, we don't show up. Because humans also fail to show up sometimes. And we ask why. We look for a reason. And there are quite a few reasons. But I would like to suggest that one of them is not that we have some intrinsic, deep, evil flaw in our nature. This idea in the West that we are somehow selfish, brutish, and cruel at our core is a lie. We are not that. According to current research, we seem to be actually rather well primed for the good at birth. Our potential is for the good. However, this potential can only be realized in and among the community. Expressions of goodness, kindness, and compassion are not guaranteed just because we are born that way. They must be developed in the individual and in the community. And when this communal commitment to moral clarity and ethical development is lacking, we become susceptible to projects and programs that will meet our need for connection and belonging in other ways. Our need for community, for connection, and for belonging can be developed to correspond and align with life-affirming teachings, or it may be manipulated towards life-destroying ones. We are primed for the good, but the community is required to turn that priming toward the good. It is up to us how we live together. It always has been. So how we define community determines whether our efforts and our lives will be life-affirming or atrociously destructive. And we have participated in both kinds of efforts throughout our history. While we have the privilege of being able to see a better and more inclusive truth from our stance here in this generation, we must be careful not to rest too tightly on that. For previous generations also had their moral clarity and their ethical commitments. It is easy to judge from our position. Let us remember that we too will be judged as falling short in a generation or two. It is up to us to do what we can to make of this democracy what it might yet be. To delve back into a little bit of our history in the United States, the reason that we have programs like Social Security, unions, Medicare, and Medicaid is that the people of the United States, in response to massive income inequality at the beginning of the 20th century, rose up and said, no more. They organized, and they organized, and they organized, and they organized through civic, social, and faith-based organizations to create a different set of circumstances and life outcomes for everyone. And it did make a real difference. It was very far from perfect. We know that. The deeply held racist and sexist ideas were very active in shaping how those policies and practices were imagined and then implemented. And advocates for equality and fair treatment of all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, sex, gender, class, education, citizenship status, and religious background, participated in all levels of the process in an effort to continually widen that circle so that everyone could be increasingly included. And we are clearly still working towards that. The fact that we are not there, that there is backlash to our work to create a world rich in justice and flowing with compassion, should not deter us. It should rather alert us that we are doing the right things. We are doing the best we can, as Brian said. When we feel frustrated and upset or even despairing, that is the time to turn to one another and to ask for support and resources, to take time out to renew, to take time out to be alone or with others, as your introversion or extroversion might call you to, so that when you are rested, you can return to the work of bending that arc of history towards justice, which, by the way, was not said by Martin Luther King Jr. originally. It was Theodore Parker, a Unitarian minister, and MLK did credit that to Parker. I just want to correct the record in the Unitarian Church for that. This ability to bend the arc of history, though he said it so well, of course, right? Both of them did. This ability to bend the arc of history is also known as building our social capital, to borrow from the work of Robert Putnam. Building our social capital is similar to economic capital, right? It is a resource that you develop in community so that you can be more effective. Being part of South Valley is something that can and will increase your social capital. It increases your ability to get things done in and around the community. And it helps you live longer, so that's enough of a reason anyway. In areas of the world where social capital is low, where civic engagement is low, there is a persistent sense of disengagement, powerlessness, and apathy, which again creates a space in which people can be persuaded to believe that the problem is the widening of that circle of inclusion, rather than the fact that the system has been siphoning off profit, power, and influence from all of us for the benefit of a few for a very, very long time. It creates a space for a strong man, a bully, to enter in and create a sense of belonging, a sense of powerfulness that, while false, can be very compelling and is rather dangerous in its implications. Genocide is not an accident. It is not an accident. And it is not the result of a few bad actors. Genocide is a communal response to the breakdown of social, civic, and economic stability. And its prevention requires all of us to be committed to building a beloved community where all people are valued, where all people have dignity and worth, and all people have the ability to build lives of meaning and power. And South Valley, I believe, really is a place that we can and are doing that. We, like other community and faith-based organizations committed to moral and ethical development, help bend that arc towards justice. Our commitment here to shared values as Unitarian Universalists, it matters. Our shared ethical and moral code honors not just the worth and dignity of all people as essential. We also value working communally to bring about improvements to the democratic process. We are a community that seeks personal meaning and honor the ability to wrestle with those big questions of life. And we are also a place of service to one another and to the community at large. And when we do this, when we participate in these kinds of activities, we build a beloved community. As Brian mentioned earlier, we are launching our pledge drive today and next Saturday. I hope that you will all attend our affectionately named big event. As your minister, I must travel multiple stances. I am called to love and care for you as individuals, as well as the whole of the community. I am bound to you in a sacred covenant, and you are bound to me. I am also, in addition to being your minister, the head of staff, a non-voting member of the board, and an employee. Thus, I am equally responsible for ensuring that the community is as strong financially as it is spiritually. So that is why we talk openly and honestly about what it takes to keep a place like South Valley running. That is why we talk honestly about what it is required to ensure that we have the resources and capital to continue our work in the world. I have some good news. I've been with you for almost 5 years now, so here's some good news of some things I've seen us do. 4 years ago, we stated a collective goal to begin to move our financial circumstances from a persistent narrative of scarcity to one of stability and health. We have achieved that. We have achieved that. South Valley is financially stronger than it has been in a very long time. Your leadership on the board and the finance team and all of our leaders of teams and committees have worked diligently to improve internal operations and communication. We have set aside money for emergencies, and we have sought out grant funding to improve safety and accessibility in our buildings and grounds. I estimate that we are going to be investing over $320,000 in our building and outdoor spaces over the next 2 years. Over $175,000 of this money came from within and among this community, from your donations as well as a gift from our endowment. That is a powerful testament to what we imagine we are up to and who we dare to be in the world, especially at a time when it can feel so easy to be overwhelmed and despairing. We are taking ourselves very seriously around here. Instead of spinning out of focus, we are getting more focused, and it shows. We are thriving. Our sanctuary is filled with children and youth. I think we had about 3 dozen this morning. Part of our goal a couple of years ago, coming out of COVID, was to the pandemic lockdown part of COVID. Pandemic is still here. People are still getting sick. Everyone please get vaccinated, by the way. But we set as a goal when our children's program was very, very small, that we wanted to build that program and support it with reliable childcare on Sunday mornings during worship and for after church events and weeknight events as well. We've accomplished that. Also, as a result of what the pandemic made us do by going on Zoom, we learned quickly about what it means to have multi-platform worship. And we have made significant investments in technology and staffing to support a wonderful Sunday morning experience. And we're not done yet. We have as a goal this year to increase support for those who are hard of hearing. Yes, we have our captions, but we're looking to add hearing support here in the sanctuary as well. We are also looking to professionalize our AV support on Sunday mornings by finally compensating Palmer, who is here every Sunday morning. He has been with us every Sunday morning as a volunteer and as a member for 3 years? Something like that. And so we would like to support and honor his professional work in that. Last year, and this is the fun part for me, last year we had Elmo during the Pledge Drive kickoff, remember? And we launched a goal of creating spaces for friendship to grow between adults because we have this loneliness epidemic, this epidemic of disconnection. And Elmo was our chief encourager. Many of you still have the Sesame Street sticker on your name tag from last year. For those of you that don't yet have one, we encourage you to go and get one. I will look for some more Elmo stickers. And know that the people wearing the Elmo stickers, they really do want to be your friend. I have seen many new connections begin this year, as well as I've watched established connections grow deeper and broader. We are growing as a community across our demographics. Our starting point series has been at capacity, and again, our sanctuary is filled with children and families. Our teams and committees are beginning to build for a more broad outreach, both within, among, and beyond the walls of this community. And your pledge is part of what makes this possible. So as your minister, I ask, as we enter into this pledge season, that you consider carefully and thoughtfully what makes sense for you and your family this year. We are not a community that will ever demand that you pay to play, nor are we a place that holds your dignity and worth or your salvation as something that we have that we will give you in exchange for your money. That's morally corrupt. We ask instead that you become a part of us, that you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure for the good of the whole. How you do that is up to you. There is so much healing happening in our community, and it is palpable every Sunday morning as we gather. We are a place for seekers, and our reputation as a beacon of hope for all those who have been left out or left behind of their childhood faith, or who never had a faith to begin with but now realize that it is a critical part of being human to be connected, is spreading. This vibrancy among us is resounding as a call throughout this valley. We are a place for justice makers and spiritual seekers. And it is good to be together in this place. Justice is the heart of this community, and love is at the center. All of you and each of you is invited to participate in this. Together we are, we can, and will make the difference that is required. I think it's a pretty good bet. Thank you for the privilege that you give me each week to be among you as you build this most beloved of communities. You're a joy. You're a resource. And I love you all, each and every one of you, and the whole. Amen. Extinguishing of the Chalice.
All right. The words are in the order of service, and you are invited to say them out loud with me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. We hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.
Beloveds, as you go forward into this weary and troublesome world, remember this moment. Take a moment to look around and see each of these people is committed and worthy, dignified, joyful, and most of all, resistant and resilient. We are a strong community together. Go spread the good news that kindness and compassion can prevail if you show up and you work for it. May you find joy this week. May you trust the earth upon you, the earth underneath your feet to support you. And may you find joy. Go forth in peace, go forth in love, and have a delightful lunch if you're not coming to Mystery Pals after service. I really do encourage you to make a friend date or a coffee date for after worship today. Just see who might say yes. Beloveds, please be seated for the postlude and be well.
Let it shine, yes, everywhere.